Hi guys, thank you for watching and streaming ChemLife, where we have chemistry in every story. With the same host but different speakers and different topic, we bring to you the podcast, the show that never down thinkers' boldness. My name is Farha as a host today.
And me, Awani, also a host.
Alright, so for today's speaker, we have someone special. She is not an undergraduate student. She already completed her PhD in aquatic biology in 2001 at University Putra, Malaysia. Woo! Wow! And now she is Deputy Dean, International Institute for Halal Research and Training. And she is, roll the drum, Associate Professor Dr. Zaleha Binti Kassim. Woo! Welcome to our podcast today. How are you, Doctor?
I'm okay here and very glad to have to have this session, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Alright, it's such an honor to have a talk with you today, and of course, I'll be extremely nervous, plus excited, plus curious, and oh my god, I don't know, my feeling I'm messing up like crazy today. Anyways, for today's podcast, we'll be focusing on the topic microalgae. It is invisible to the naked eyes because micro means extremely small. So you cannot see if you wearing spectacles unless you have a superpower. Just kidding. So a part of that, algae can be classified into 11 classes based on its pigment, structure, and so on. The main and common types of algae are red algae, brown algae, and also green algae. So my question is, how can I know which type of algae and how to differentiate those three main classes, which is red, brown, and green algae?
Uh, Algae actually, when you talk about algae or algae, it could be macroalgae or microalgae. So classification based on color normally will be used for microalgae. That is why you see brown algae, red algae, green algae. Basically, of course, you can easily differentiate them by looking at the color. So because color means from the pigment, and this pigment taxonomy is used to classify macroalgae, especially macroalgae. For microalgae, you need to have some other what we call characteristic. But basically, yes, you can use color to differentiate algae.
So the name of the algae is based on its color, right? Brown algae.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh. So all the types of algae can be
Mm.
found in water, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a lot of pollution nowadays. Water pollution or
Mm.
microplastic will affect the production and growth of algae.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I assume that when microplastic is increasing and
Mm.
a lot of water being polluted,
Mm.
so the algae also will be increasing, right?
Yeah. Basically is
Uh,
like that because
it's so
mm-hmm,
it's directly proportional to each other. All right.
exactly. Mm-mm.
Wow, interesting. Oh my God, Alhamdulillah, I still remember.
Mm. Yeah, because microalgae as a living organism, their cell need something clean so that they can grow. If you have microplastic, as we know, microplastic can become nanoplastic, and it can accumulate in the cell. So it will disturb the physiological and biochemical activities in the cell, and the cell will die. So algae will die. Mm.
So is it applicable for micro and macro algae? For both
Exactly,
algae.
both. Yep.
All right.
Okay, so what makes we found out that you are given a grant to propose the benefits of microalgae, and it seems that you are more interested to pursue algae for bioethanol for bioethanol and biodiesel advantages. Why is that? What get your attention towards biodiesel industry for microalgae?
Okay. Biodiesel. Uh, okay, what can I say? Actually, biodiesel is not new. And another thing is bioethanol. So this is very important to this what we call from waste to wealth. We always see algae as a waste. I mean, okay, you see the water is green, so what? But inside it, we have a lot of cell, a lot of small size or single cell plant like microalgae, and it can be very useful. And of course, we try to exploit this bioresource so that we can replace whatever we have right now, because we are, as long as human population is still growing, we really need a supply of energy. The world need the energy, so this is an alternative to get energy from bioethanol and also biodiesel. That is why we as researcher, we always try to explore new things, explore through the blue ocean strategy, so that we can find alternative for whatever we have now. It is more or less, we can say it is for sustainability. I think that is the best word to use for sustainability.
Yep, you're right. Because since yeah, with all those algal bloom, they
Mm,
seem to be a bad thing, but instead we
mm,
can actually use them
mm.
for other applications instead of just implying negativities towards them.
Ex- Exactly. But if you talk about algal bloom, that is another issue. So maybe you what you always heard is about algal bloom, right? Algal bloom. Why it is negative? Algal bloom is negative. There is no positivity in algal bloom. You know why? Because when we talk about algal bloom, we are talking about the bloom of population of microalgae in the water body, such as river or normally in the coastal area or marine water. And this bloom is from the species that can be very toxic. That is why we can say it is a harmful algal bloom. This harmful thing, because they in their cell they have toxin, and this toxin can kill you, can kill the fish, and but this toxin can always be associated with the filter feeders such as green mussel, cockles. So during the phenomena of algal bloom, you are not supposed to eat this shellfish, because the shellfish they get the algae, but the toxin still inside their normally their gills. uh, they don't be died because of consuming this algae, but for us human and also for fish, it will we will get toxicated, and normally it lead to die cases. So it's very dangerous.
Oh, I see. I
Mm-mm.
thought we can actually exploit those algal bloom for microalgae farming or
No,
management.
because yeah, this is two different things. If you want to farm algae for the for to exploit into bioethanol or into biodiesel or into other benefit such as food or in pharmaceutical, this can be done for those microalgae that are not having toxin in their cell. But algal bloom is due to the toxin in the cell. And why do we have this algal bloom phenomena? Number one is because of the excess nutrient get into the water body. So this excess nutrient normally from the human activities such as restaurant, domestic waste, or fertilizer from the agricultural activities. So this nutrient go into the river, estuary, and coastal area, and these are become what we call fertilizer for the algae to grow very fast. But which kind of algae will get this opportunity to grow very fast using this nutrient? Normally, they are the opportunistic algae, which are from the group of what we call dinoflagellate or dinoflagellata algae, and they are very toxic. So that's what we call algal bloom. So it's two different things. So, but if, of course, if you can, you are a chemistry student, if you can take some advanced research to study how to, to eliminate the toxin in this microalgae, the dinoflagellate, then later you can exploit the dinoflagellate for uh, any beneficial product.
I see.
Mm-mm.
You can take that note for your FYP project.
Oh my god. Sure,
Mm.
sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
algae
Uh-uh.
bloom will be harmful to us. All right. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. So, it is might slightly different with the algae bloom. So, I would like to talk about the biodiesel. So, compared to the other biodiesel option,
Mm-hmm.
um, such as sunflower oil, food waste, palm oil. So those algae have an extra advantage or benefit that will grab our attention more. In a simple word, what make algae stand out more than others option?
Okay. Biodiesel. This is very popular subject matter. If you want to
Ooh.
get popular easily, you can do research on biodiesel. So there are many universities, uh, executed this kind of research in their labs, but until now, I think what I can say, it is far from success. Biodiesel is good. The biodiesel is really good, and it can you can in terms of quality, they are very much more efficient than the diesel itself. Okay, and they are environmentally friendly. But then the cost to produce biodiesel is not cheap. It's very expensive. As you know, actually biodiesel can be used, and it is a good source of energy for aeroplane. You fly the
Aeroplane.
aeroplane using biodiesel. Yes, this has been done by a country like Australia. They produce biodiesel for aeroplane. But you know, during my World Conference of Microalgae, I attended this conference in Adelaide in 2010, 9 or 10. So we discuss a lot, and we actually in that conference we have one speaker from that company, and in that company that produce biodiesel for aeroplane, they have 70 staff with PhD to run the factory. It is not easy. 70 staff with PhD. Uh, so it's not easy.
Means that company
Uh-huh. Sorry? Yes?
the company have huge success.
Yeah, they really they
Great
successfully
success. Yeah.
produce the biodiesel. But if we in Malaysia want to, to venture into this kind of biodiesel production, uh, we still have a long way to go, because first, before you get the diesel from the microalgae, meaning the fat, kind of fat, right? First, you need to culture the algae, and then you need to have a big plantation for microalgae. And microalgae, they have a certain uh, procedure, a very strict procedure to make them bloom. Okay, so you need to control the salinity, you need to control the temperature, the lighting, the oxygen supply, and then the system must be, without any microbial interference. Okay, and then after getting that microalgae, you need to separate the microalgae from the water. Okay, you have to do the dewatering process, and then another chemical process. Then only you get the fat that can be later converted into biodiesel. It's a long process, and we need high technology. So we have universities working on this. Uh, from my observation, what they can produce now is just about few liters of biodiesel. Few liters. If you want to sell minyak petrol, kalau you hanya ada beberapa liter saja, how do you go? How the business can grow? So people will go back to Petronas, Shell for diesel. So that is the our bottleneck right now, because in Malaysia, number one, not many people able to culture microalgae. Just to culture, to maintain the culture. Not many people know. Of course, we have a guideline from FAO. You can you can check at the website on FAO guideline how to culture microalgae. Of course, you can follow the recipe of the fertilizer. You can follow, but that are all for lab work in the laboratory. If you want to upscale in the farm, some more, we in Malaysia, we are tropical country, very hot sun. Microalgae very sensitive to this high temperature. They won't grow. Because in my lab, I keep the temperature to only 23 degrees Celsius. Then only they grow. Yeah.
So we have a university or a place in Malaysia uh, that study and also do a research about the algae.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and as you mentioned before that we have a condition for algae culture, right?
Mm-mm.
Temperature,
Mm.
intensity,
Mm.
parameter, and also pH. So, what the optimum condition, like how much temperature and also pH that I usually use?
Okay. We need to look at this a few other things. Number one, are you culturing freshwater algae, or are you culturing marine algae? If you are culturing marine algae, normally this marine algae need salinity, marine water, which is up to 30 ppt. If it is freshwater algae, you need to culture them in 0 ppt. So that is for the salinity. And for the temperature, you need to maintain them at about 23 up to 24 degrees Celsius only. Warm temperature will kill microalgae cell. So it will be very costly because you need to maintain the temperature. Okay. Uh-huh. And then you need to control the pH. Of course, acidic condition, they won't grow. They need more than 7, normally 8 to 9 or 10 pH. Then it will be okay. And you, from time to time, you need to give them carbon dioxide, and you need to give them oxygen. And of course, one thing for sure, because microalgae is a plant, so they are doing photosynthesis to live. So for photosynthesis, you need to supply them with sunlight, right? But for culture, you don't use sunlight; it will kill the cell. You will need to use a certain lux of lighting, and then it will be depending on species and depending on how you nurse the microalgae. You can give 24 hours lighting, or 12 lighting in dark condition, or 16 uh, 16 light condition, or maybe 6 to 18. Uh, that's what we call photo period. So we need to know all these things first, then only we can maintain our microalgae. And another factor is, what species are you dealing with? Some species are very sensitive, some species are very hardy. You can put in whatever condition they can grow. But some species is very manja. So you use the wrong condition, they will die. If you refer to your maybe your senior who I think 2 or 3 students from chemistry did FYP under my supervision on microalgae, they know the difficulty in culturing microalgae.
It's really
So
quite a
means that
measure to. Uh, microalgae is very sensitive to take care of. It
Yeah.
seems. Yeah. So all types of microalgae can be used for biodiesel, or there are only specific types, and how do we know whether that microalgae will be suited for biodiesel application?
Okay, for biodiesel normally, of course, first we need to do the screening. And a very simple way, very simple strategy to screen whether that microalgae is suitable for biodiesel or not is, you need to detect the fatty acid or lipid content. Some microalgae have a very high content of lipid. So this kind of microalgae you can use for biodiesel study. Some other microalgae, they have a high content of carbohydrate. So you use this for bioethanol study. So it will depends on their content, nutrient content. This is what we call biochemistry of microalgae. So we need to do biochemistry screening first.
Does the screening take a long time?
No, for FYP can do that. Provided your lab is well equipped with ICP-MS, GC, or FTIR, and so on. Mm.
so as you mentioned before that, um, different types of water and different types of alga will
Mm,
have a different optimum condition, right?
exactly.
So it's quite difficult to do FYP with alga, I think.
Uh, and normally you can choose the most popular or the common species that being cultured in the lab.
Ah,
We have common species. Normally, these species are very popular among us, fishery students, aquaculture students, biological students. So species like chlorella, uh, Nanochloropsis, Isochrysis, these are all very popular species, and you can easily obtain from other lab, maybe from other university or any some labs in UIA. Also, they maintain the seed or the brood stock. Mm.
Uh, right. So before we go further with the discussion, so I would
Mm.
like to ask both of you, Awani and also Prof, and also including viewers. This is not related to our discussion, but might be related to our topic, microalgae. So this is like a little break before we go into more serious discussion. So listen carefully, okay? So this is
All
the
right.
question. Algae goes to school to take mathematics class. But why do the teachers get angry? So I repeat, Algae goes to school to take math class. Okay, and then when it entered the class, the teacher get angry and scold it. Why? So Awani want to answer or Professor?
I don't know.
Awani, do you want to try? All right. So okay, I give the answer. Okay, the answer is ding, 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 because Algae didn't know how to solve algebra.
Ah, of course.
Is it because it's green? It's green. It's green color because green is associated with free. Free.
That's the answer. Okay, it's kind of we play around with the words algebra.
Ah, okay, okay.
How many do you get it?
She's
How
thinking.
many
She's
seems
thinking.
like seems like what? What algebra? It's okay,
Mm,
Awani. Take your
mm,
time.
mm.
But I'm so sorry if it's not really
Sorry,
fun.
what?
It's algebra because I
What?
Algae.
G
Sorry, I
Mm.
can't catch the answer. No, I can't.
algebra.
I didn't get the answer. Can you repeat the answer?
The question is, the algebra go to the math class, and it cannot solve algebra.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think I'm really bad at that job, and I will study hard for that.
I get it. Uh, no,
So,
I don't think I get it.
you get it right. So
Mm.
we're back to the discussion. So we talk about
No,
the
I don't get
algae.
it. I don't get it.
So we talk
Uh,
about the algae and
no, actually, yeah.
the benefits and also the pros and cons about the algae. So in your opinion, that how far Malaysia can go with the algae ideals?
Algae what?
Algae ideas as one of the initiative alternative. Sorry, we have palm oil as our alternative,
Uh-huh.
but
Okay.
in your opinion, how far can we go with the algae as our alternative?
Oh, okay. How far? We have still a long way to go with algae. Uh, s- as I mentioned earlier, up to now, I think the most promising or the most successful story from algae in Malaysia is only for aquaculture, activity. Number one. Number two, some algae have been produced to food grade, so algae become a supplement. So you know about spirulina drink or chlorella tablet. These are
Ah,
these are very much
heard
easier
that.
than producing biodiesel. So for Malaysia, if we want to go further with microalgae, it is not for biodiesel. It can be used for aquaculture purposes, also it as food supplement or health drink. That one very much straightforward if compared to biodiesel or bioethanol. Because it's very easy. We in Malaysia, our food industry or food technology industry, we are uh, what I can say, we are in good position right now. We produce a lot of uh, if you look at some our local magazine, it will be filled with a lot of advertisement on supplement, right? 5 dalam satu, 6 dalam satu, 10 dalam satu, produk-produk kecantikan atau produk-produk minuman kesihatan, if you know. So you can simply insert microalgae in it, in the formulation, provided you upgrade the microalgae that you produce into food grade. Then you can insert into the ready ingredient of any other supplement. Then you can claim that one is okay. This contain microalgae. Microalgae is high in EPA and DHA and EPA. It boosts the memory. It boosts your mind. It boosts your blood circulation. It's easier. If compared to you want to say this is microalgae, we can produce biodiesel from this. We can replace Petronas or Shell petrochaos with algae chaos. Yeah, because of course we need like palm oil plantation. We have of course if you want to have uh, oil from this plantation, we need to deforest the our hutan or our forest. With microalgae, you can easily culture them in big ponds or in river or in protected area nearby our coastline. But it is easier said than done. We need technology, some very advanced technology to do this. But maybe if you travel maybe to KL or somewhere in our in through Cheras, you can see treatment plant or open treatment pond. In this pond, you can see the color of the water is green, right? And why green? Because there are a lot of microalgae inside. So you have microalgae pond. But can we use this microalgae supply from this pond for our purpose? It can be yes, it can be no. So it will depends on the technology after getting that microalgae, because microalgae in a treated or in a treat plant like that, it contain not only microalgae but bacteria, viruses, and many other things. So you need to purify, or maybe you don't have to purify them, but it still will be depends on what technology that you have. Mm. So there is hope, but we need to we need to depend on our future generation, those generation like you all, young generation, to do some innovation and invention.
Um, so again, about the negativity of the algae, like since like currently we have no ways to exploit the algal bloom, But so is there other ways to remove those algal bloom to prevent that body of water, that plastic, from getting algal bloom?
Okay. Uh, we can. There are many ways to avoid or to curb these phenomena, algal bloom phenomena. For a long term, we need to have a awareness program on to keep our coastline clean from organic waste or domestic waste, because these waste, when they enter the sea, they become fertilizer to these dangerous microalgae. So first we need to do something on the land. So we need to make people aware that whatever waste or organic waste fertilizers that you wash into the water, into the river and the sea, you actually fertilize the dangerous microalgae to grow. That's number one. Number two, we need to have rules and regulation. Meaning to say, the fisheries department need to have initiative to avoid or to advise fishermen not to do activities that will trigger the algal bloom. For example, the way they culture their fish in the cages, the way they culture the green mussel in the rough system. So we need to teach them not to make accumulation of waste in the water body. So accumulation of waste will trigger algal bloom because it become fertilizer to this dangerous algae. So maybe that will be some of the important things, and it will be for a long term. But if you have this incident of algal bloom, what should we do? So it should be first the fisheries department and any agencies related to the fishermen, they need to have alert system so that fishermen and people at the coastal area full aware of this and start for maybe for cages, they need to move the fish cages to other area which is a safer area, and then they need to alert the coastal communities not to consume anything from that area because you will be hospitalized once you get this toxin.
All
Mm.
right. Okay. So I think we are discussed a lot today. So
Mm.
everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Chem Life, where we have chemistry in every story. Thank you, Doctor. You guys
Yeah.
can follow us on whatever social media you guys are listening or watching from. We are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, Spotify, whatever it is. Please be sure to follow us on social media for a lot of information, program, and a lot of activities. And also, don't forget to participate and give support to our program named SIGIC 2021. Please mark a date and join it. And finally, the last absolute thing that we are going to ask for our guest today, Professor, I would like to request I would like to request you to make any sort of outro that you want. It could be motivational word, it could be
Oh.
message to someone, anything you want. Just shout out to the viewers.
Okay, what can I say? Please protect our environment. The more we protect our environment, the more sustainable. So we keep the environment. We take what we need, and we leave the rest for the future generation. Thank you very much.
Nice word. Protect our environment for future generation, which is
Exactly.
my generation.
Your generation.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof, again for being
Mm.
our guest in today's podcast. Again, it's such an honor to have a talk with you today. Have a good one. For the viewer, if you have any question or maybe you have a suggestion for the next topic for us, please send it with the hashtag ChemLife and let us know on our social media. See you on the next episode. I hope everyone enjoyed today's podcast, the show that never done thinkers partners. Goodbye and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.